Hello. In this video we're going to learn how to use a thing called a for loop. Now a for loop has various versions of it in Python, so we're just going to use the one that counts from a number to another number. So let's start with the very basics. For I, so that's a variable in range, and I think if we just say 10 and then we go down, that will actually count from 1 to 10. But let's just check that that works by printing the value of I. So what happens is this repeats over and over again as it counts. There we go. So it actually starts as 0, then it's 1, then it's 2, and so forth. So this actually might seem like a really basic trick, but it's one of the fundamental skills in coding, and you'll often find yourself needing to count from one place to another, or which I'll explain in other videos. What we can also do is we can count from 1 to 10. Let's just give that a go. There we go. So we can specify a starting or a finishing place. Now that we've got this variable, I'm going to make it so that it generates a sort of times table thing like you would have done in maths. So up here, I'm going to set the variable for num. I'm going to set that to 4. So that's the 4 times table. So here, we're going to say num. Now I'm going to have a little bit of text here, and I'm going to use an X for times. And then I'm going to put a comma. You'll see I'm putting a comma when I change between literal text and a variable. So num times I, then another one, and equals. And finally, I can actually let it do the maths on the fly, which is I times num. There we go. So let's see if that works. Let's see if that gives me a times table. It did. 4 times 1. Okay, so let's have that counting up to 12. And let's give that a quick run. There we go. 4 times 11. 1 to 12. Interestingly, stops at 11. Okay. So let's go 1 to 13. I'm not quite sure why 12 doesn't go up to 12. There we go. So we stop before we get to 13. So there are my times tables. And I'm going to make a very last addition to this. I'm going to say it equals an int. The int is going to be an input. And I'm going to ask what times table would you like? There we go. Close off the things that I need to, including closing my brackets twice, because I've got one around the input and one around the question. And then I run it. I would like my 12 times table, and there are my 12 times table. So that's the basics of how you use a for loop with a number, and showing you how you can turn it into a practical program.